Superman to me right now just feels dead in the water, a corpse that isn't moving. Look, Henry Cavill could play a great Superman. With the right script, he'd do a really good job. Ironically, he acts more like Superman outside of the suit. But his agent is too difficult to work with. Negotiations with Warner Brothers aren't great. Something I've been thinking about, however, is the upcoming Flash movie and how that movie could reboot the DC universe, Flashpoint style. To either give us an established universe that we just jump into the thick of, like in Young Justice, or we phase one it, like Marvel, with character origins leading to a Justice League movie. But I think the first option's more favourable. Regardless, today I want to take you through how I would adapt the Big Blue Boy Scout for the big screen. The cast, tone, all that. So if you're a subscriber, welcome back. If you're a first time viewer, welcome. And if you're a Hollywood exec scrolling through YouTube, trying to figure out how to make a Superman movie, because we know you're struggling, well then this is the place for you. So let me pitch to you, Superman, Man of Tomorrow.
Jonathan, he's only a baby.
He'll be fast.
He'll be odd.
Virtually invulnerable.
Isolated. Alone.
He will never be alone. Lex, I know there's good in you.
I control everything in this town, Superman.
I fight for those who can't fight for themselves.
You will never control me, Luthor. They can be a great people, Kal-El. They wish to be.
But I've fought for the same things, even when they don't seem fashionable.
They only lack the light to show the way. For this reason, above all, their capacity for good. I have sent them you.
I'm too weak to fight anymore. You're stronger than you know, Mr. Eggerson.
My only son.
The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing.
It's a never-ending battle, but we can't quit.
You're living in a dream world! Good. Dreams save us.
Superman.
Stay here, son. Dreams lift us up and transform us into something better.
Never allowing myself to lose control, even for a moment, or someone could die.
I swear that until my dream of a world where dignity, honor, and justice are the reality we all share, I'll never stop fighting.
Superman is a hero that is so iconic, kids without TVs know about him. I'd say this symbol is almost as universal as the cross at this point.
Jesus came to be the way. He says, I am the way.
Because of that, Superman has been done to death in the media, whether it's shows or movies, there's never a shortage of Superman. However, I have a few grievances with how we've depicted Superman, and I have a few ideas on how this character should be represented, so in good spirit, I'm going to go through the major Superman adaptations, identify what does and doesn't work about those incarnations, to distill down what actually makes a good Superman story. And hey, if this video does well, I'll make a part 2 in which I actually cast a Superman movie, and how to make a story that emphasizes the purpose and point of each character to make a great Superman story. One that stays faithful to what makes this character so beloved and endearing. 1978's Superman the movie really was a product of its time. It undoubtedly understands the heart and spirit of the character though. Director Richard Donner paying close attention to what Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster initially intended for the character of Superman.
We had to keep the history and the purity of the piece, what Siegel and Shuster originally started out to do.
It has the right messages, the correct tone, it's earnest, endearing, and charming. However, the story is kind of hijinksy and a bit clunky, and the action really was limited by the constraints of the time it was made in. Regardless, it's a movie that understands Clark Kent and Superman, and that's why it holds up today. 2006's Superman Returns is a different story. Returns tried to recapture the heart, but fell flat due to how little it wanted to do something new, feeling more like an imitation rather than a homage, instead retreading over existing ground, whilst giving us a dull movie where Luthor wants to create land. This land? Quick question, who would want to live here? It looks miserable.
And a place for Kitty, one for my friends, and that place over there I'll rent out.
Sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows every...
Now, Man of Steel. Understand this movie divides a lot of fans. For a lot of fans, it's the first time they saw Superman do the action they had seen in cartoons as kids, just on the big screen. I understand Zack's appeal. He's a great visual stylist. The movies do a great job at making our heroes look epic and badass, conveying a sense of importance on their actions. The movies are just essentially god porn. But here's the thing, the messages, themes, and choices in these movies feel empty. The heart isn't there. Superman is meant to be the better man. He wouldn't destroy a guy's truck or a military satellite to teach them a lesson. And that's just Man of Steel. In BVS, he's a rather choiceless and passive character that would gloat in his strength rather than quickly tell Batman that Lex is behind the soul.
If I wanted it, you'd be dead already.
You had one moment to tell him something, and that's what you say. Not, hey, Lex is stitching us up. It's, if you want to be dead, you'd be dead already. Shut up, man. Shut up. But you've heard these complaints before. There's nothing new I've said there, and I'm sure Devote Snyder fans are already in the comments right now telling me how I'm an idiot simply for saying that. But here's the thing. Zack Snyder does not understand Superman. He never has. His core Randian philosophy goes against everything Superman means and stands for. So quickly, I need to explain why Zack Snyder doesn't get Superman. And I promise this will circle around to how we actually make a good Superman movie, by first understanding how not to make one. Snyder just doesn't understand Superman. I'm convinced he actually hates the character and what he stands for, and he doesn't understand what motivates him, missing what this character actually means, so much so that he took a warm, optimistic, hopeful character and made him cold. The real heroes behind Superman are Jonathan and Martha Kent, instilling him with not just a morality, but a humanity that humbles him. The type of man to say he's just a guy, just a friend.
Who are you?
A friend.
This essential human connection, this humanity was missing from Snyder's Superman, but I'll get into that soon. Snyder has a clear idea of the story he wants to tell, no matter what story that may be, with clear visuals and an eye for striking imagery. This can be seen as early as his work on Dawn of the Dead. However, my problem isn't his storytelling, it's his philosophy motivating his characters. Snyder has an almost nihilistic messaging in his movies, that we're already dead so there's not much point to it.
Everybody here is already dead.
Terry's already dead girlfriend.
Forget them. They're dead.
The best we can do is just go out in a good way.
A good death has its own reward.
Regardless, Snyder is heavily inspired by Ayn Rand. A novelist, atheist, and philosopher backing Objectivism, Rand described Objectivism as the concept of a man as a heroic being, with his own happiness as the moral purpose of his life, with productive achievement as his noblest activity, and reason as his only absolute. When boiled down to it, it's quite a selfish philosophy. It's a philosophy his characters display in his films, achievement, legacy, and being heroic as the cornerstones of their value system, not being human or just. That's why most of his heroes are hypermasculine males, the epitome of this philosophy. A might makes right mentality that distills heroes down to people doing a necessary evil, usually killing, as somehow a noble activity. This can be seen for Superman thinking that killing Doomsday is a noble activity and thus a worthy pursuit of his life regardless of the moment not having any dramatic weight. It can also be used as an excuse for Ozymandias in Watchmen, his goal being a noble pursuit worthy of death and the destruction it'll inflict. Rand rejects altruism, which funny enough is a core attribute of Superman, altruism being a selfless concern for others, and you can see that in Snyder's treatment of Superman. Superman rejects any need to establish a connection or a selfless concern for others, to be altruistic, to get down on their level. His heroics are disconnected. He doesn't look or talk to the people that he saves. He treats his heroics like a burden, an obligation. This rejection of altruism being strange as it's part of the backbone of Superman's character and his purpose, to do good things for people simply because he can. No agenda, no trauma motivating him to be good, just simple altruism. Superman saving people in 78 was about him being on their level, like teaching empathy to a child.
We all get a little afraid of heights now and again.
Bye, Frisky.
Superman in 2013 was about how awesome he is. Insert ab shot here. The moments he does save people are dedicated to making him look like an untouchable messiah, the complete opposite point to 78 Superman. One is a warm, compassionate hero that brings himself down to our level, whilst the other invokes ideas of hero worship. The shot's focus is not on him saving the people, but hauling the huge thing, showing off his strength. He doesn't talk to the people he saves, there's no human connection, nothing to make us think that he's a good guy, nothing to make him relatable or show his humanity, just Henry Cavill looking constipated for 2 hours. Snyder's Superman is disinterested with humanity, with being humanized, which is strange because it's the humanizing element in Clark that makes Superman relatable and not some god figure. If you struggle to connect with Snyder's Superman, this is likely why. Sndyer is a dude bro. He has the dumb guy mentality that killing is cool. He's a guy with an obsession that death is necessary.
A good death is its own reward.
His movies have no room for men with empathy, an actual heart, actually going out of his way to punish men who have empathy in his movies. Superman starting out as a sensitive boy who wants to save people, and by the end learning to be a killer. Snyder's movies have always felt quite strange to me. His movies are often twisting what the original source material was about. In Dawn of the Dead, the original 1978 film was a capitalist critique that was dropped in the Snyder version, twisted into one of religious punishment and endorsing capitalism. Whilst Watchmen was a commentary on excessive violence, among other things, Snyder's Watchmen glorifies violence. He makes passages of the comic that were insignificant and neutral, overly heroic, glorified. But that's the thing though, his movies are empty to me. There isn't significant meaning there. His characters don't make any significant change from start to end. Snyder agrees with the villain in most of his movies and glorifies that his heroes are fighting a battle they cannot win, because to Snyder the villain is right and all that's left for the hero is just to have a good death. Snyder's movies, especially Man of Steel and BVS, have always been quite cynical. This is supported with him saying this.
With that, it's a cool point of view to be like, my heroes are still innocent. I'm like, that's cool, but you're living in a fucking dream world.
Yeah, that's the point, Zach. They're superheroes.
You're living in a dream world!
Good. Dreams save us.
Superman especially is a pillar of altruism, an inspiration, an example of what we could become, what we should aspire to.
Dreams lift us up and transform us into something better.
Snyder's Superman is an objectivist, cynical one, following this Randian ideal man of having an individual morality based solely on self-interest.
You don't owe this world a thing.
What?
This line just speaks to how much they don't understand Superman. It makes no sense. Superman is not Superman based on obligation, but an altruistic quality just to do good for the sake of it. Because he can, so he should. In my Superman video, which I'll link down below, I explain that cynicism is not wisdom, and optimism is not naivety. Superman is meant to be that optimism, and Lex that cynicism. But the movie agrees with Lex, treats him like he's smart, and makes Superman feel wrong for trying to be good, instead of Lex being a clearly cynical man and Superman just outshining him through pure optimism and selflessness, an approach that the humbly raised, good-hearted Superman would do in any other incarnation.
Lex, I know there's good in you.
What we've been given in recent years is a Superman stripped down of the elements that make him endearing. With the New 52, we got a younger but cynical take on the heroes we know. Something felt off, and this is the same for the DCEU, an imagining of these characters that miss out on the heart of what makes them, them. Batman using a gun? Batman, the hero that says guns are the weapons of cowards. Batman doesn't kill. Superman isn't spiteful. Barry Allen is not Wally West. This is Barry Allen, not this. And fuck me, he does this all under this lens of doing it for the fans.
You know I'm a fan.
He says he likes comics, but he really doesn't. He just likes the big explosions. He reminds me of the type of comic book reader that doesn't actually read the dialogue and just looks at the art. Like he just looks at a double-page spread for 5 minutes and that's it. Listen, Snyder, if you really gave a flying shit about the fans, you'd leave your cynicism and dread out of these clearly hopeful and idealistic icons. My point is there's a responsibility in conveying the optimism, altruism, and heightened reality of the character to the big screen when you adapt him, that the core ideas are communicated. Coming full circle, we need to ask, what do we need from a Superman movie? What should a Superman movie be, and what should it do? Obviously, it's an action movie first and foremost. After all, Superman is a superhero, so I think delivering unique action that we haven't seen in a Superman movie would be really interesting. Creative uses of his powers that older movies just weren't able to do. In terms of something like Superman Returns, we have to be careful not to retread over existing ground. We can't be stuck in the past. I think reinventing the aesthetic for Krypton would be a great start. Have it feel like a tangible place that actually existed. Instead of unnatural alien technology, have it feel like a place that is actually tangible. They wore clothes, not weird fluoro dresses, or whatever this is. More like if Rome was taken into the future, if anything. And have Krypton's destruction feel like the fall of Rome. And that's just Krypton, we can introduce other elements too. Perhaps new villains, new adventures, new settings, new companions. And then there's the issue of characterization. Well, if we look at Snyder's Superman, he's lacking in empathy, a strong sense of altruism, and an essential humanity that makes him relatable. This is that Randian approach he takes to all of his heroes. What I think is best for the character is a return to form for the heart of the character. Have him look into the eyes of the people that he saves. Have him smile, genuinely interact with the people of Metropolis. Have him win over the hearts of the city, something that would only infuriate Lex Luthor, a man that is a vice grip on Metropolis until Superman showed up. I want Clark to acknowledge his world is Earth, not Krypton.
I found him.
Who?
My parents.
No, your parents are your Earthling parents, the ones that raised you.
On my world, it means hope.
Bro, your world is Earth. You lived here your whole life. When people ask who he is and where he's from, he should say a farm from Kansas, that his parents are Jonathan and Martha Kent, that he refers to them as Ma and Pa.
It doesn't matter where you were born or what you can do, you'll always be Clark Kent.
Sure, he might be born on a dying planet, but he grew up human, with human values and ethics. He's just as human as you or me, and that should be evident by the human way he treats people, starkly contrasting Luthor's lack of patience and understanding in his underlings, slowly getting more frustrated over the movie. I want to see Clark be the better man, to fulfill the idea that he is the best of us, an inspiration as to what we could one day become if we chose to be good, to lead by example. He shouldn't need a waitress to hold him back, and he won't destroy a guy's truck out of pettiness. He'll take any hate he gets on the chin. I just love a movie that pairs the heart of the 78 Superman with the action of a more modern incarnation. Speaking of action, a lot of people think Superman is boring, that he's overpowered, and to me, I think that's a complete misunderstanding of the character. Comic book genius Grant Morrison actually showing us that we can create a compelling Superman story if we want to. We just have to write him into smarter problems.
The great thing about Superman is even when you can juggle stars, Lois Lane can undermine them with one cruel word. And that was what was powerful about it for me, was the fact that's why we made him even more powerful than ever, because everybody kept saying you can't write a Superman story because if he can do anything, then what conflicts are there? And I thought, well, emotional conflicts, the biggest ones, the things we all understand.
The trouble we've seen in writing Superman is that he's indestructible. If given a threat to face, he can just finish them in seconds. Now, most writers combat this by giving their heroes an equally powerful villain to face. The Ironmonger for Iron Man, Caecilius for Doctor Strange, the Red Skull for Captain America, Ares for Wonder Woman, Black Adam for Shazam, and so on. However, I think everyone's bored of the standard copycat villain. I think the Batman movies with the Joker, and now the Riddler, are a breath of fresh air, giving Batman an intellectual or ideological foe, one that he cannot beat with his hands, one that forces him to find a different, smarter way to defeat his opponents, and I think this is the key to giving Superman an adversary that actually challenges him.
You will never control me, Luthor.
I don't think nerfing Superman is the right way to go. I think a more powerful message is to do what Marvel did with Thor, to say, here is this power, now be worthy of it. Save people, be a hero, be someone worthy of aspiring towards. A message Marvel clearly forgot with Captain Marvel.
You're the most powerful person I knew.
Let's say he's been able to solve most of his problems in his life through using his muscles, and it's after encountering a villain like Luthor that he's forced to find an intellectual way to defeat him. Or even Metallo. Superman can't just go charging in, the radiation will kill him, so perhaps he's forced to find another way. Superman has endured all these years because of his character, not his fists. I think it's time we see Superman's morality win the day, not a quick twist of the neck. If Marvel can make Captain America work, a character that was stiff and a bit of a Boy Scout in the same way Superman is, then there stands to be no reason why they can't make Superman work in the same way. I touched on this in my Superman video, but part of the appeal of Captain America is that he's a humble man, morally incorruptible, that he stands by his guns on what's right and wrong. I genuinely believe that a hero that isn't defined by darkness simply by his will to do good would be super refreshing in the modern age, seeing as how we've normalized the idea of the edgy hero.
Fuck Batman.
Now, it's easy to make fun of an earnest man just trying to be good, but when the jokes about him and the cynicism fades away, you have a hero worthy of aspiring towards. Someone so unshakable in their morality that the light the character exudes shines through. I hope the people behind a future Superman movie understand that for the movie to be relevant to audiences, Superman doesn't need to be gritty and modern, just grounded and endearing, truthful to what has made this character so compelling for the last 85 years. With the tone established, I think you guys have a decent understanding of the type of movie we're going for here, a Superman movie with characters reminiscent of their animated series counterparts. So this is essentially what I want from a Superman movie, an endearing and optimistic tale with a larger-than-life cast. I'm sorry I didn't plot out the movie, but I'm more concerned here about the tone and establishing what I want from a Superman movie. The cast and story I'll make in a follow-up video, so stick around for that. Featuring a cast that can deliver us the hyperbolic and grand Superman tale that I want, one that's uplifting, endearing, and inspiring.